It is Monday, the 27th day of June 2022. Hello there and welcome from me, Rukid, Kiijanangoma, to our second and final edition of News Tonight here on UBC TV. First though, let's have a look at what's making headlines at this hour. In our news headlines tonight, Prime Minister Nabanja describes the arts teachers' industrial action as uncalled for. Police crime report shows poverty and economic hardships fueling crime. Government commits 200 billion shillings in commercial banks as a merchant grant. And in sports minister urges federations to pursue excellence to increase the sector's lobbying powers. Hello there and welcome once again. We are coming to you live on air and online from Broadcast House here on Nile Avenue. Now, the Prime Minister Nabanja has described the arts teachers' industrial action as unfair and uncalled for. Speaking in an interview with UBC's Dennis Sigoa, the Prime Minister appealed to the striking teachers to return to class as negotiations to avert the situation continue or else risk being deleted from the government payroll. Let's have a look at this story.
On 14th of June 2022, Uganda National Teachers Union announced a sit-down strike for all arts teachers over what it terms as a proposed biased salary enhancement in favor of science teachers in government schools. It's now week 3, and the government is urging the striking teachers to return to class as it engages with the UNATU leadership on matters of salary enhancement.
Teachers should go to school and teach because government is committed to enhance their pay, but in a phased manner, depending on availability of funds. We shall start with scientists this financial year, then phase our other public servants.
The Prime Minister Nabanja condemns the industrial action, calling it unfair.
Our children, especially from the poor background, are the ones who are affected most because those you see on TV, their children go to private schools. But even then, despite the fact that the economy had been closed, the teachers were still receiving their pay. They have been in a class for only a few months and now they are on strike. This is very unfair.
She, however, noted that government will not be held at ransom for too long and issued a 30th June ultimatum to the teachers whom she said are absconding from duty.
We have put the cows, the chief administrative officers, on notice to delete them from payroll by 30th of June. And these are not threats.
You're saying they don't have the powers. The cows don't have the powers to delete them.
The cows are the ones who have been putting our teachers on payroll, and they are the ones who can delete them from payroll.
Politicizing of the matter and empty promises by the politicians is also criticized.
When I saw my colleague members of parliament hoodwinking teachers that we shall pass a supplementary budget to enhance their pay, I felt embarrassed. I felt sorry for this country. Why? Because the members of parliament passed the budget and most of those colleagues who were there playing to the gallery, some of them are members of the budget committee. They are.
Majority of those engaged in the industrial action are arts teachers in primary schools in Kampala and some up-country schools. Dennis Sigoa for UBC News.
Now, the Bukoman CB District Education Officer Ziwa Patrick has warned arts teachers in government schools on their continuous strike, saying that they have forgotten that they applied for these jobs individually, not through their umbrella body UNATU. Now, this follows continued absence of arts teachers from schools, affecting learners in the process. We have more in this story.
Despite government threats to scrap arts teaching teachers on industrial strikes from the government payroll, should they decline to return to classes, the move has not scared the teachers to back off the strike unless otherwise in Bukomansimbi. In the schools we visited in Bukomansimbi, students turned in big numbers, but teachers were not available to teach. They remain in their homes until government heed to their demand. The head teacher of St. Joseph SS Butenga, Mukasa Edward, said only 2 arts teachers appeared, but they just signed the attendance book and then went away.
Era nembawo okulabula tebaddamu kujja kukikola. Oba batandise okusomesa bajje basomese, oba basigadde waka basigaleyo.
Mukasa has appealed to government to come out and guide on the way forward as the students' accommodation in schools remain wanting. At St. Victor's...
And that story will be coming later on, but now let's go to Food Portal, where government schools in Kabarole district have maintained the students' teaching and learning process amid the ongoing teachers' industrial action. In some schools, UBC TV managed to visit. Learners were busy with their daily lessons.
This is Impanga Secondary, a government school in Fort Portal Tourism City with a population of over 2,000 students. At this school, we found both students and teachers busy with their daily class work uninterruptedly.
That means it goes once, that is what we have passed. Those are 60 people. Any others that are there, if it goes around the field, we look at examples.
Rionga George, the school head teacher, explains how this school was not affected by the industrial action.
When the industrial action started, the school kept running, basically on the teachers of science and those who are not paid for by government. But later on, we talked to the teachers of arts keep around and do some work.
With many teachers at this school paid by parents, this is the student teaching and learning process.
There's no way they would leave the students without attending to them when the parents are voluntarily paying for their salaries. So those continue doing the work and kept the school running.
At Kahinju Secondary School, another government school in Fort Portal North Division, the situation is not any different. Students were busy learning. According to Zebidi Bwambali, the head teacher Kahinju Secondary School, the school used the available teachers to avoid affecting students' education.
The rest 17 are also humanity, but they are now teaching.
Teacher says the strike did not affect the students.
Our children are studying normally, almost like it used to be even before the instruction.
I'm doing my work because I'm employed here by the Board of Governors and I'm teaching.
On Friday last week, Kabarole District Council condemned the industrial action following the effects of COVID-19 on students.
We have adverse effects in the teaching and learning process and hence affecting the performance of learners in the long run.
District councillors say students have suffered a lot with COVID-19 effects and should not be punished by the teachers' strike.
It's not really the water and it's hurting.
Let's go to Arua City now, and as teachers continue to strike over their monthly salaries, there are some who sacrifice to continue teaching, whereas some of their colleagues actually have decided to lay down their tools. Let's get more in this report.
As teachers continue to have their tools laid down, children have never given up on reporting to school. One of the schools we visited in Arua City is Arua Hill Primary School, where we found teachers conducting their lessons normally. The presence of private teachers in the school is one of the factors encouraging some teachers in the public school to teach amidst the strike. According to some of the head teachers we interacted with, what learners had lost due to COVID-19 has triggered a concern in their schools, a reason they continue to sacrifice for the sake of the children, especially those in candidate classes who are running out of time for their final UNEB exams. St. Kizito Ombachi Primary School is another school we visited.
The industrial action is also the second action that is going to cripple learners' learning. Here in Ombachi Primary School, we are not mandated to send children away. With the candidate classes, we are sacrificing full time. But for the rest of the classes, you know, some teachers can sacrifice once in a while to go to the other classes. I do not have full force to force them to go in. Looking at the child as a future leader should also be able to help.
The Principal Education Officer of Arua City, Raymond Ombere, confirms that most of the teachers turning to teach are science teachers.
At least the learners are coming to school every day, and there is teaching by the science teachers, but in some of our schools the arts teachers are not teaching. In the primary schools we have, that is where we have been hit very hard.
Mbere says his office has continued to encourage teachers to go back to class, but the move is yielding little or no fruit with others.
People say you can take a horse to the well, but taking the horse to the well is one thing, but making it to drink the water is another challenge. We are trying our best, we are trying to speak to them, we are trying to encourage them, but that's the difficulty we face.
As some teachers continue to sacrifice, they are calling upon the government to consider an increment of their salaries because of high costs of living in the country. Joseph Fonama, UBC News, in Arua City.
In a related development, Minister for Public Service Muruli Mukasa has appealed to teachers to report to class as government starts implementing the phased salary enhancement policy for all public servants. The minister was addressing journalists at the ministry headquarters here in Kampala.
The Minister of Public Service has appealed to striking teachers to return to class as they wait for government to implement an enhancement to teachers' salary.
The argument, the issue now is enhancement. We should be asking questions like, yes, you have agreed to enhance the science teachers up to that level. When are the arts teachers going to be enhanced? These are the questions which should be asked. To what level? Okay. If those are starting at 4, then where are the arts going to start from? And the other related, civil servants. Those are the questions. And once we have good answers, then we say, okay, fine. If that's the case, yes, we can afford to wait for 1 year. Then all ourselves, even us, will go up there and let's go back and teach. After all, the people we are punishing are innocent children. Where is the equation in the pay enhancement of the children?
Public Service Minister Muruli Mukasa adds that government's roadmap to implement salary enhancement in a phased manner was implemented in 2018-2019 financial year, but due to COVID-19, the process was disrupted.
When we are thinking of enhancement, we are looking at the entire service. Yes. Would have wanted to handle the service at once. But because of the limitations of the funding, we are now forced, as a tactic, really, in the overall strategy, that, okay, let's take section by section, which you can adequately handle, and we go on like that every year. We look at the different section until finally we have covered the entire service.
The minister also added that the salary enhancement for science teachers applies to all science-based units in different government departments.
The health workers have got an enhancement. And the category, the veterinary doctors like agriculturalists, all those fall in that category of scientists, you see. So those have got an increment. And actually, I think rather than being vilified by the country, I think we should be appreciated for struggling under these very hard conditions to raise the salary of certain sections of our service.
The minister also noted that science was given priority due to its vital role in society, but also attract scientists who look for greener pastures outside the country.
That science is basic to the development of society. It is at the bottom, at the base of the development of society. And it is so critical that it really propels change, transformation. It's very critical. And indeed, many of our very good and eminent scientists have gone out of the country, to the neighboring countries, to Europe, elsewhere, for better pay, better wage. And they're doing a very good job there.
The government also intends to increase salary for other sectors of public servants, starting with security personnel, teachers, in the next financial years.
So all these, therefore, will be considered. And we are saying, okay, we have worked out as public service a roadmap, which was a revision of what we had agreed on earlier on in 2018-19. Now, because of all these interventions which came in, and were not unexpected, so we have got to push the roadmap a little bit ahead, so that instead of ending 23, 24, we have to move on to 24, 25, 26, then everybody will have been enhanced.
Sadam Mubale, UBC News, Kampala.
Salary enhancement of civil servants will be in a phased manner, and that is, of course, according to Public Service Minister Muruli Mukasa, as you've just been watching in that story. Police have arrested 2 suspects over the weekend robbery at Spice Supermarket in Mukono Municipality. The Force spokesperson Fred Enanga says poverty has pushed many young people in retail crimes, and the arrest of these will help to recover the missing gun which was used in the robbery.
The new 17th Prisons Administrative Region, named North Central, is a break away from the large Central Prisons Management Unit. Prisons spokesperson Frank Baine says the initiative is for Luwero, Nakaseke and Nakasongola districts.
And within this region, we have the stations where the prisoners are is Bamananika, Butuntumura, Buambo, Makurubita, Nyimbwa, Wabusana, Kapeka, Ngoma, Wachato, Nakasongola Main, and Nakasongola Women.
The police weekly crime report has indicated an increase in retail crimes like robbery, house breakings, fake roadblocks, and other forms of extortions.
Victoria Police in Kampala Metropolitan Eastern Mukono Division are investigating a home invasion attack and robbery against Geneth Kavasha, a female cashier at Rigo Paints, and a resident of Canaan Site Estates.
The retail crimes are linked to the increasing poverty and unemployment among youth.
But of course we notice that there is a sufficient number of youth who are unemployed. For instance, in this operation which we made in Kasangati, the 12 of whom we got during daytime, the intelligence we had is they sleep and then they go and work at night by mugging people who are going back at home late and robbing from them. That has been.
Over the weekend, Spice Supermarket in Mukono was robbed by gunmen and injured one. Police have arrested 2 suspects over the incident. Mugalu William, 24 years, and Imbogo Sam, 23 years, are prime suspects in this robbery.
These were clearly identified by witnesses who managed to see what took place during the attack at the supermarket. We are now working towards the recovery of the gun and also identifying other members of this gang
Police have also arrested 12 suspects over extorting money from head teachers, threatening them to burn their schools.
That we got from that side. Of course, poverty is one of those factors that drives some of the unemployed youth and other people into crime. But
in Kampala Metropolitan, police have started the community engagement to reduce the escalating crime rate in Kampala suburbs.
Urge LCs to continuously register their residents, because we always keep on saying new residents coming in. So we urge you to continuously register your residents, to conduct regular village meetings, especially security village meetings, to establish or form WhatsApp security groups. So, because these groups are a way of bringing the police and the communities closer to each other.
The worsening economic situation is projected to sour public security, and security agencies urged the public to be vigilant about their movements and enhance surveillance in their homes. Abdunasir Lubwama, UBC News.
Uganda Prisons Service have established a new prison region service center. The spokesperson prisons, Frank Baine, says creating new region of prison management intends to eliminate congestion in prison centers.
The new 17th Prisons Administrative Region, named North Central, is a break away from the large Central Prisons Management Unit. Prisons spokesperson Frank Baine says the initiative is for Luwero, Nakaseke and Nakasongola districts.
And within this region, we have the stations where the prisoners are is Vaccination, Butuntumura, Buwambo, Makurubita, Nyimbwa, Wabusana, Kapeka, Ngoma, Wachato, Nakasongola main and Nakasongola women. That is because Central had become so big.
The split will address congestion in prisons and extend services to the community. The prison spokesperson, Frank Baine, also clarifies on the ongoing recruitment exercise of the staff.
Then others, even the date of birth, on the academic document, one was born on the 1st of January 1990, but on the national ID, this same person was born on the 10th of January 1990. So how can you be born 2 days that you are born, disappeared, and born again?
Meanwhile, Prevention of Human Trafficking Office has in custody Nsamba Kraish and Kemirembe Rose, residents of Matuga, for trafficking 25 minors.
So when they recruited them, the boys were housed in a garage in Kiijanangoma zone, while the girls were harbored in Rubaga, Bulange B zone. And they recruited these children, apparently disguising that they are going to take them to their technical school, their school.
The Ministry of Internal Affairs has called on individuals who applied for passports in years of 2018 to 2021 to collect them before they are destroyed. Lydia Chomkama, UBC News.
Our Minister for Information and National Guidance, Dr. Chris Varyomonsi, has criticized social media users for misleading Ugandans about children vaccination. There are about 2.6 million people on social media, most of who post negative issues targeting government programs.
With the Ugandans, we have all become wiseacres. Everybody pretends to know, even when he doesn't know. That's the problem I see, especially with the social media. I'm not saying actually Ugandans, the whole world. Somebody goes on social media and writes the science of the vaccine when he has never been in a science class, and misleads many people. Even signs off as a doctor when you can't be sure that he's actually medically qualified. So we have that challenge of an infodemic, because we'll be talking of an epidemic, but also we have an infodemic as we manage COVID-19 and other cases, where people whom you don't even know spew out a lot of information which can be misleading. which can be misleading. So that's a challenge that we also have to manage. But the vaccines go through a very rigorous process before they can be allowed to be tried on individuals. Usually the process involves developing what we call a candidate vaccine, a chemical, and then you start by applying it on animal models, on animals. You are
ICT Minister Dr. Chris Bariumusi ending that report then, of course, shedding more light in as far as children vaccination against COVID-19 is concerned. The government has put aside 200 billion shillings in commercial banks as a merchant grant with an interest rate of 10% for small businesses. While launching the Small Business Enterprises, Minister David Bahati asked retail and small business enterprises to utilize government initiatives in boosting their businesses. Take a watch.
Small businesses with no hope of getting loans and lack capital to sustain them will benefit from the 200 billion shillings government support to small business enterprises. State Minister for Trade David Bahati says government has put aside 200 billion in commercial banks as a merchant grant with an interest rate of 10%.
Now we have directed the Uganda National Bureau of Standards to pay attention to support these people. When they come in, let them be cleared as keep the quality, the standards, but clear them with speed. We are also negotiating their markets. We have a European market now, we have a Goa market, we have African Free Trade Area, a population of 1.2 billion, and also a market that imports 547 billion.
To make sure that even they can loan to these businesses at a reduced cost below what the market rate is. And so these are some.
They have also put an innovation fund of 30 billion for innovation and research.
Then in the next 5 years, they should be able to grow. Those also involved in manufacturing that have been having a problem of land. Now in the next 1 year, we are developing 5 industrial parks. And in each industrial park, we shall have land for small, medium enterprises to start their factories.
The chairman SMEs Humphrey Mutasa asked all entities involved in businesses to revise rates imposed on these businesses in favor of the operators.
When they are speaking about taxation, when they are speaking about bad roads, when they are speaking about bad rentals, when they are speaking about what affects them, we don't see big companies come through and join the team. No. We want, when we speak about small businesses, even they say, what is MTN doing there? Yes, it is supporting MSMEs because if they die, his brand is not going to the villages.
The Micro, Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises Day was on the theme, Unlocking the Potential of Micro, Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises for Post-COVID-19 Recovery. Shaidat Nasaku, UBC News.
We'll now take a short break, but we'll be returning with much more. Do stay with us.
Today in History.
On this day in history, then President of Uganda, Apollo Milton Obote, received Dr. Oliveira Santo, then Executive Director of the International Coffee Organization. Dr. Santo was on tour of African countries in preparation for the pending meeting in London, England, for the Coffee Council later that year.
Sanyuse nnyo essanyu lijula kunzita MTN momo terimba nalindi waka ngenda okuwulira essimu ezze nenga neera bino bya bulijjo ebyekifere kubanga mbeera awo omuntu n'ofuna essimu n'ogenda okuwulira oli atandise empaayo emitwalo 5 kakati kino MTN bwe yankubidde bo tebansabye ku ssente wedda banzikakkanya na bukakkanya nze nga ntabuse ngamba mu buli baffere nze nandi wano pulesa zaagala kunkuba bukubu sinneebaka kutulu ate ke mumpadde emmotoka mu byonoonye kati ate awo wiiki ndala MTN yebale nnyo okutufaako fenga abeebulemeezi Luweero twabalina waka MTN
Waka with MTN Momo Nyabo.
Simply deposit 20K or more on your mobile money for a chance to win 3 Toyota Succeeds and money to 2,000 lucky winners every week. We're giving away 24 cars and over 2 billion shillings of mobile money.
Football packages, great entertainment,
sports, local content, telenovela, the movies.
There is something for everybody. Go TV, this is where great stories live.
Get the best entertainment for any budget. With GoTV, you will have great entertainment for as little as 13,000 Uganda shillings per month. GoTV, great stories, Zidiwano. GoTV Uganda, love it.
The Kabaka Birthday Run 2022 is back on Sunday, 3rd July 2022 at Lubiri Mengo. This year, the run will be physical and will be flagged off by Sabasaja Kabaka at 7 a.m. Come out in large numbers once again to Lubiri Mengo. Run for a cause to fight and end HIV by 2030. Buy your ticket today at 15,000 Uganda shillings from Airtel shops at Tobani Center, New Taxi Park, ShopRite Building, Benchwanka Street, Majestic Brands Office at Bulange Mengo. You can also buy your ticket using Airtel Money. Dial *185*5#. Select Payments, select Kabaka Run, and follow the prompts to complete the payment. Kabaka Birthday Run 2022 is brought to you by UNAID, CBS, BBS, and Airtel, the smartphone network.
I remember the lockdown, when the streets were empty and our lives disrupted, when businesses closed and our livelihoods hung in the balance. Hospitals were full. We lost loved ones, jobs, and hope. Our children couldn't study anymore. We cannot let this happen again. We should not go back. Get fully vaccinated against COVID-19 and join the millions of Ugandans who are already vaccinated.
World Cup in the desert, the first one in the Middle East, the first to be held at the end of the year. That's crazy. Get ready for spectacular moves, high-flying saves, unbelievable goals. Out of this world celebration.
Would you believe it? What a moment here!
All 64 matches live. That's over 5,000 action-packed minutes of the FIFA 2022 World Cup Qatar. Now that's crazy. Catch all the action only on SuperSport, your world of champions. On GoTV. Love it.
Are you a player in the tourism sector with a struggling business following the COVID pandemic? UDB, in partnership with European Union, is providing financial assistance to businesses operating in the tourism sector. You can access subsidized loan with grants, loan with a tenor of up to 5 years, free business advisory services, and free environmental impact assessment. Visit www.udbl.co.ug/call for applications to apply. Deadline for submission is 31st October 2022 at 5 p.m. For more information, please call 0414 355 509.
Bore chewaka na MTN Momo Nyabo. Echora kule chonka.
Amazina ganje ni banyeta Kansime Clofas. Nimbela lugazika kwa Mambara. Ninye muhanguzi w'emotoka ya MTN Momo Nyabo waka Elizaba nye nahangura motoka ninsima MTN Munonga ninsiima abantu bonna abeezumbire mu kintu eki ekyokubaasa kutusyaho ebirabo bya MTN mwebale munonga muhangare mubeereho
Chiwaka na MTN momo nyabo ekyorakora kyonka tawe emitwaro 2 n'okweyongerayo aha mobile money yawe obaase kuba mwabanyamugisha barayihangurire Toyota Succeed 3 na sente eziturabe ntwabahanguza barukwike 12 buri wiki nituza kwaye motoka 24 na sente za mobile money eziri kurenga ubuhumbi 2.
Welcome back from that break, and this is the second and final edition of News Tonight here on UBC TV with me, Rukid Edward Kiijanangoma. Now, Minister for ICT and National Guidance, Dr. Chris Baryomuzi, has warned Kanungu district leaders against mixing parish development model initiative with political and religious affiliations. The minister says district leaders have frustrated government programs in the past by mixing their personal interests with national programs. Philip Aguta reports.
The Minister for ICT and National Guidance, Dr. Chris Baryomuzi, has spent the whole of Monday with the Kanungu district leaders, equipping them with the objectives of Parish development model. The minister started by condemning the Kanungu district leaders with perverted sectarian, religious and political syndromes against government programs meant to help the ordinary people get out of poverty.
Unfortunately, the other MPs are not here, but should be the same spirit. That whatever we rob from government, let's rob for Kanungu. I get reports that when issues come in the council, people group themselves. The other side. I have no side in the council. All of you are my councillors. So that it will just take the district back. You may oppose it, but I feel it. I get it because those things are there.
The minister urged the leaders to unite and leave out negative energies out of a Parish development model that has been initiated to eradicate poverty among the subsistence farmers.
I am sure everybody has a reason why he went to look for a vote. If you ask me why I looked for a vote or why I looked for it, is that I want to make a contribution so that Kanungu can get better than how it is. You may have your own reason why you chose to be in the council or to be a chairperson of the district or LC3, but for me, it was to get a vote, be a member of parliament, do whatever I can to see that Kanungu can get better. So if all of us have that intention, then there is no reason as to why we can't work together to see that we help the people who vote for us. And that's why the NRM government exists, to improve the quality of life of the people of Uganda. Mwenu ntaka gambele ali ya PDM na nienda kubashaba nkabebembezi.
The councillors raised a number of gaps like employing non-experts to run the circles, effects of climate change, and urging government to maintain previous programs like WEP.
Majority of the women who are taking the WEP money are not part of the 39% subsistence farming, much as they have other challenges. Most of them are widows, and most of them are single-mothered. They are mothers heading their homes.
At parish level, they are saying the organization is purely for poor people. Now, in most cases, people who are poor are illiterate. So, these are the people who will be managing the circles. And I don't think they can manage them well when they don't have the skills. So this is the challenge that the government is going to face.
Look at my town council, for example. We have parishes that have 16 villages. In Chi town council, I have about 47 villages and they occupy 4 wards. There are some wards that have 2 cells. And here you are looking at the massive impact changing people.
Parish Development Model is a new government poverty eradication program. Under the model, the funds will be sent directly to the parish level to help boost agricultural production and in turn improve household incomes. In another development, Dr. Baryomusi also took some time to explain why government is sending arts teachers to class and call off the strike. He appealed to the district leaders to pass the same message.
From the government side, the question is, should civil servants get better pay? The answer is yes, from government. Is government. Should the teachers be paid better? The answer is yes. Is the government able to afford today to raise the salaries of all civil servants significantly? The answer is no. Financial, yeah. Is it okay to phase the payment until when we reach everybody? For us, we think yes. Is the government willing to continue negotiating with teachers when they are teaching? Yes. That's okay. But if you are saying, government our police are very good enough. They are the poor and the military officers.
Philip Aguta, UBC News in Kanungu.
State Minister in the Office of the Vice President, Diana Mtasingwa, has recommended parish development model for women and girls empowerment. The minister was officiating Kitabi Parish Day in Bushenyi District. John Bansentamo reports.
State Minister in Office of the Vice President, Diana Mtasingwa, has advised women and girls to embrace parish development model. This, she says, will enable them access money to invest in their skilling projects like tailoring. The minister was officiating Kitabi Parish Day in Bushenyi District, a function that was graced by several politicians that front the parish development model.
Development model is everywhere in the whole country. It's a model of development at the parish level, and therefore that would make sense because you don't have to first of all move long distances to go and get services at the sub-county, but also it is the people in the parish who know themselves.
The parish day at Kitabi aimed at soliciting funds to establish Kitabi Parish Business Center to supplement church income.
And for us, every year we do celebrate. But whenever we are celebrating, we incorporate the component of development. We are looking forward to put up a petrol station, arcades, and also areas where people can have their functions.
Now, the Parish Development Model Mobilization Team in Greater Mpigi has asked political leaders to push government programs and initiatives for development. The team in Mpigi is being led by State Minister for Health, General Duties, Anifa Kawoya.
Mobilization and sensitization meeting on parish development model at Mpigi District Headquarters started with a visit to the office of the RDC and later proceeded to council chambers for deliberations. Area members of parliament called for unification of the parish development model programs for all to benefit.
Leaders were behind this program, and we are looking forward to the fruits that may be under the program. Members raised issues to do with the vastness of the district. It's a very big district. Some parishes are really big. If you look at Wama Town Council, for example, it's an entire district. The population is big. And then they are hard to reach areas in the islands, which also maybe are not included in the program. The minister said that will be revisited maybe in the future, but we should have this roaring.
Mindset otunulira engeri gye bastructurizemu parish development model abantu b'emirinyiri abalina okusookerwako okukyusa obwongo bwabwe bategeeza nti eno puroguramu si ya mwami Museveni yekka n'abamuwagira ne balina osooka okusomesebwa bafune holistic approach engeri gye bagenda okukyusaamu abantu baffe baleme okujja nga basosola bwe tunafuna okusosola mu puroguramu eno Madam Honorable Minister.
The parish development model is intended to transform communities and homesteads by increasing their finances and stability in their well-being.
So far so good. We have seen the farmers around. We have also appreciated that the information about the parish development model is known. What was not very clear is the beneficiaries, how many of them in a household, 1 million, what enterprises do they get, when do they put it back at the circles. At the end of the day, we have found that people are prepared for this development parish model, for the parish development model, and at the same time, they are willing to embrace it from the top leadership.
The team visited a 4-acreage model farm with different types of crops and animals that was affected by hailstorm in Mawakota County. They crowned the day by sensitizing the masses on radio talk show, requesting the public to embrace the program. Zahara Abigaba, UBC News.
A State Minister for Northern Uganda, Grace Kiijanangoma, has launched the parish development model in West Nile sub-region with a call on the leaders at lower local government levels to take the program to the grassroots. Haruna Mtesasira was in Arua and filed the following story.
State Minister for Northern Uganda, Grace Kiijanangoma, says the parish development model tasks leaders to appreciate alleviating household poverty.
Is coming to the parish, it must reach that household which is poor, and all the committees responsible, the accounting officers, right from the district to the parish, and at the parish level it is the parish chief. We must ensure that this money reaches to that household for which it is meant for.
Parish development model can improve household income of communities at lower levels.
The household. Lonyi, our president calls it Lonyi. We'll be speaking more to our people about this Lonyi, how we want to create the wealth. Since we're in this press briefing, I just wanted to give you the synopsis of what this pillar talks about.
What we get from the land. Let's work as a communal, you work together. Then what you get from the land is what you should say, other than fragmenting this land. This has been the problem. There are people here who want to go for extensive farming, but now they don't have the land.
Leaders from West Nile also noted that about some government intervention programs had challenges at village level.
And we're the only ones who can do it, not somebody else. Government is giving us an opportunity with this money, with this intervention of parish development model. Like my colleagues have said, the money is now going down to the parish, among us. We shall have money.
So this is a test. This is a chance for us to prove that the resources government has brought in place is going to multiply and make a significant difference in our region. So I want to appeal to all of us, the people that intend to get this benefit, the service. Let's try as much as possible to make it transform our total life.
Minister Kiijanangoma observes that government designed the parish development model program under 7 pillars to address challenges of the previous programs.
Nobody should extort money from groups. It is free. The government has offered to register through the Ministry of Cooperatives, and the district commercial officers are in all districts. It is free registration.
Parish development model program is targeting 39% subsistent poor Ugandans to propel them into a money economy. Under the parish development model, the parish is an epicenter for planning, budgeting, and service delivery for both state and non-state actors. Haruna Mtesasira, reporting for UBC News in Arua City.
It is coming to 10 minutes to 11. Let's have yet another short break and we'll return with business.
connected today with the My Airtel 4G smartphone and enjoy free data for 1 whole year worth 86,500 Uganda shillings. That's free 2 GB for the first month and free 1 GB for the next 11 months at only 250,000 Uganda shillings with free data for 1 whole year worth 86,500 shillings, making the effective price of the 4G phone 163,500 shillings only. Airtel, the smartphone network.
We can't tolerate sexual harassment.
Sexual harassment is unacceptable in our school.
Because a good school equals a better life.
Raising voices.
Fun is our flavor. When we're together, the vibe is pretty alright. Our taste is pretty awesome. We are Uganda's #1 fruity refreshment. Enjoy Mirinda Fruity, Uganda's #1 fruity refreshment.
Welcome back. Let's have a look now at what's happening in the world of business. Buganda Kingdom has passed the 2022-2023 fiscal year budget with priorities to be put on creating youth employment. Buganda Finance Minister Robert Nsibirwa says despite challenges encountered, more have been achieved.
Buganda Kingdom has read the budget for 2022-2023 financial year of 157 billion shillings. The Minister for Finance, who is also Second Deputy Katikiro Robert Nsibirwa, highlights key priorities in the budget.
Mainly prioritize the putting more money in the hands of the youth. We have 5 programs that have illustrated in the budget. We want the youth to use what they have, either expertise, even if they have not gone to school. We have come up with Linyiso Mutindo program so that youth that have expertise in the countryside can be certified by the Directorate of Industrial Training and Uganda Rail Institute to start earning a little more.
He says the skyrocketing commodity prices have challenged them. However, there is hope that all budgeted sectors will be achieved.
We have come to adapt and we have been very resilient when it comes to our revenue sources. We anticipate that, and I did mention that. I am presenting this budget when we have 2 crucial issues. The skyrocketing prices of fuel that affect every facet of life, because when fuel is up, everything is up. But also the war which has disrupted the supplies from China. Without that, we would have had even a much higher budget. But the budget we have presented is accommodating those challenges and risks.
Speaking in the Rukid, Katikiro Maiga tipped government to dialogue with arts teachers who are still on strike.
An innovator like Professor Ogwang needs marketers, he needs auditors, he needs human resource professionals, he needs lawyers to protect his invention. So the arts and the sciences work in a complementary role. You need to look at the salary structure in the country, because that's how you maximize productivity from government employees. So it's important that these matters are debated calmly and we get a solution.
Maiga also warned those that pretend to be kingdom workers and end up grabbing the kingdom land.
We come across so many people who claim that they belong to certain cultural groups that are entitled to kingdom land. We can't allow that. We are going to use everything at our disposal, the law, and everything else, to ensure that we protect the kingdom land. We can't allow anybody to hide behind culture to steal the land, because that's what they do.
Jane Nyiramcha, Andrew Sebira, UBC News.
The Federation of Micro, Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises want government to subsidize on the procurement of value-addition machinery to boost productivity of small and medium-sized businesses. This was in an address while commemorating the International Day of Micro, Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises in Ntinda, where the Executive Director of the Federation, John Walugembe, reiterated the need to build capacity of businesses to compete on both local and international markets.
The celebration to mark the International Micro, Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises has come at a time when small businesses are struggling after the COVID-19 pandemic.
MSMEs were strained by low revenues, a severe drop in demand, erosion of savings, and other kinds of liquidity constraints due to limited credit options.
The MSMEs proprietors to come and train in corporate governance, to come and train on how they make their businesses resilient, to come and train on how they can improve their operations along the supply chains.
To build resilience of small and medium-sized enterprises in the current business and market dynamisms, the Federation of Micro, Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises tips government on subsidizing the cost of value addition machinery.
Equipments that MSMEs would have used to add value to their products. Uganda, like I said, being an agroeconomy, being very expensive and not affordable. So we see MSMEs having challenges of having equipment that is food gradable.
The cost of certification and laboratory approvals also hinder the growth of businesses, and authorities are called to reconsider some processes.
They have to go through 3 different laboratory stages, and each stage will cost about 2 million shillings, minus the certification cost.
Government efforts to bankroll SMEs have been appreciated, though raised concern on the recently approved 100 billion shillings to facilitate the recovery of small businesses, as conditions attached are so stringent to meet.
I still think that maybe commercial banks may not be the best route for this money now, in retrospect, because they also have their money, and the SMEs that have given us feedback say that they take them in circles, say, no, yes, small business is there, but why don't you start with ours? Ours is good, we have this, but theirs are 20, 23% and so on, so until the SME gives up.
This year the celebration is on the theme, Resilience and Rebuilding, MSMEs for Sustainable Development, at the forefront of building back better and stronger from the impacts of COVID-19 pandemic, climate crisis and the conflicts. Abdul Nasir Lobwama, UBC News.
Sports news now, and State Minister for Sport Samson Obua has hosted the 10th National Sports Forum, attended by almost each of the 51 sports federations signed up at the National Council of Sports. The main talking point was about appropriation of the 47 billion shillings that was allocated to sports for the next financial year 2022-2023. Minister Obua clearly stipulated how the money will be shared amongst the federations, with the Federation of Uganda Football Associations, FUFA, taking the lion's share, but all others considered. He urged federations to pursue excellence that can increase the sector's lobbying powers ahead of the budget for upcoming years, starting with 2023-2024. The budget to Uganda's sports sector has been increased from 17 billion to 47.8 billion shillings. The minister says that appropriation of the funds to respective federations will depend on what is released per quarter. He also called for respect of structures in order to grow sports in this country. Wakiso Giants Football Club has signed John Luinda to assume the mantle of head coach to replace Alex Jita, who departed at the end of last season. Luyinda was handed a 2-year contract and tasked by the club hierarchy led by the Chief Executive Officer Sula Kamoga to achieve several targets. Luyinda is expected to improve the club's sporting excellence while maintaining identity and style of play. He is also charged with identifying talent while enabling the club break even through a strong academy that will produce players to be sold either locally or to professional ranks. Wakiso Giants has since ascended since its ascendance to the Uganda Premier League, finished 10th, 9th and 7th with targets set for better next season. John Luyinda, who will be assisted by Pius Singabo, Richard Kansoli, Hakim Sekumba and Alex Kizito, promised his best at the new club that targets success. Luyinda has formerly been at clubs like Kampala Capital City Authority FC and Police FC and in technical roles, while his playing days took him to Water, SC Villa and KCCA FC. And we've almost come to the end of this second and final bulletin for this Monday, the 27th day of June 2022. But before we leave you, let's have a look at our top stories. In our news headlines tonight, Prime Minister Rukid describes the arts teachers' industrial action as uncalled for. Police crime report shows poverty and economic hardships fueling crime. Government commits 200 billion shillings in commercial banks as a merchant grant. And in sports, a sports minister urges federations to pursue excellence to increase the sector's lobbying powers. And that's all we had time for. Thank you so much for having kept us company. My name is Rukid Kiijanangoma, wishing you a blessed night and see you tomorrow.
The family of the late Pelusi Mpaka Aboki of Rengoma district, with deep sorrow, announced the death of their mom, Pelusi Mpaka Aboki, which occurred today, Monday, 27th June 2022 at Mengo Hospital. There will be an overnight vigil today, Monday 27th at Latif Ngonzi residence in Kungu off Chanja Ring Road in Kampala. Then a funeral service at St. Luke's Church in Tinda on Tuesday the 28th of June 2022. The body will then be taken to her home at Rengoma Fort Potro, and on Wednesday 29th June 2022 a funeral service will be held at St. Andrew's Church, Rengoma. She will be laid to rest thereafter at Rengoma Fort Potro Kabarole district on Thursday the 30th of June 2022. Informed are the members of Katebwa Veterans Group, relatives, friends and well-wishers. May her soul rest in eternal peace.
The mistake of failing to manage your impression by not caring to find out what attire a customer expects you to wear. Did you see how the DF was dressed? Actually, the DF should have dressed up for the occasion, as this was a high-profile meeting with an international investor. This mistake could have been caused by a knowledge gap, where the DF did not know the kind of attire that executives would be expected to wear for a high-profile meeting with an international investor. Actually, the DF could have assumed that Alice would be impressed with casual wear, as this would show that the director was ready to dive into the work of supervising buses in a hot, dusty environment. But on the other hand, Alice could have expected the director to be formally dressed. So, how about you? How do you dress when going for meetings? Have you ever cared to find out what attire means what in your work environment, your community, and the general public? Did you know that such a knowledge gap could make you appear misplaced, irrelevant, and unkept?